First of all, thanks Rod for coming along.
No worries, thanks for having me.
When did it all begin for you?
When I started playing
Yeah.
and stuff? I started playing when I lived in Swansea, and I did like open mic nights in the kind of student-y part. And I met a band who let me play with them a couple of times as a support act and travelled around a little bit. And then when I went to university in the Midlands, I played a lot more, and then started gigging in London. And then I moved down to London for work and started gigging a lot more often and writing better songs and busking on the underground, which is kind of what I still do. And yeah, kind of was lucky enough to meet some nice people who booked me gigs and who managed me, and ended up doing it full time, which is amazing.
So if I was to ask you, who's your favourite band then? What's your favourite song?
My favourite song is Hyper Ballad by Björk. It's just something that was like one of the first albums that I bought and listened to repeatedly, like post-album. And bands, I don't know, it kind of changes a lot with bands. I tend to get more into solo people, I think.
You've obviously played in an awful lot of venues.
Yeah.
What's the funniest, sort of weirdest thing that's happened to you while you've been on stage?
Okay, it was quite weird in Hull. I've told this before to other people I've asked. I played there on Valentine's Day this year, and there was barely anyone there, and the two support acts didn't turn up because they had dates, but it was really quiet, and I was told it's because someone was shot outside the venue the day before. So that was quite bizarre, having played to this huge empty room with two people who were hoping for a good night out for Valentine's Day, and it was just really depressing.
So,
sad.
So to anyone who hasn't heard your music before, how would you describe what you do?
I guess it's kind of mostly upbeat stuff. I like a lot of folk and a lot of pop and a lot of jazz and a lot of disco. So I try and draw upon a lot of those things in the music that I make. Maybe not like directly obvious, but for some of the songs there's definitely like folk roots with like disco beats and then pop melodies and harmonies kind of floating over the top. And then I've been listening a lot more to electronic music over the last couple of years, so I'm really kind of keen to work on like layering and textures and making things a lot more 3D. So I guess my music is a happy mess of all of those things.
Sounds good.
With a Welsh accent.
Yeah. And what's next then? Are you on tour in France?
I've just finished my tour with a band called It Hugs Back, who are amazing. And then I go to Paris on Tuesday for a week and I play 3 gigs and do a radio session. And then in December I'm going to LA to work with Boombit from Neon Neon for a couple of songs. And then I think I'm going to go on tour again in January, maybe with my friend Sam Isaac.
Right.
So he's got his stuff out and I want to put a single out in February. And then I play in South by Southwest in March as well.
Fantastic.
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
Like
Might see you there actually.
Yeah, you should go. Like, it's going to be amazing watching all the different bands that would never come to Britain because they're not big enough to travel. So it'll be really cool to watch them.
Yeah, good place to catch the acts there. Okay, so if you could choose anyone in the whole world, anyone from history that you could do a collaboration with on a song, so you've got like Freddie Mercury and Montserrat Caballé, Elton John and Eminem, you know, like who would you choose if you could have anyone?
It would be. There's a couple of people. It's really difficult because I get really intimidated by people that I genuinely love listening to. So Björk would be amazing, but I don't think I'd be able to speak to her. There's a guy called Final Fantasy, like Owen Pallett, who does lots of work with different people, and I think he's absolutely amazing. So I'd love to work with him. But getting to work with Boombit is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah,
so I
absolutely.
have to calm down.
Exciting times.
Yeah.
Is there a particularly favourite venue that you've played or you particularly like to play?
I really like the Borderline actually. I played there as the last gig of the tour and that was amazing. I'd love to play the Union Chapel. I've only seen one gig there, but the sound in there is incredible and it's just such a amazing place to look at when you're there watching. But yeah, I don't know, like venues, every time I see a different venue you kind of get a different feel to it, so I've been quite lucky with most of them that I've played. But yeah, Union Chapel would be incredible.
I like the Union Chapel as well. Great venue. So what does Rod Stewart, sorry.
What does Rod Stewart think?
What does Rod Stewart do to relax? What does Rod Thomas do to relax?
I go to gigs a lot. I don't know if that's to relax, but that's kind of what I do when I'm not working. And then I do things like I watch Lost, which is really sad.
What about The Wire?
I've never watched The Wire.
Very good.
I walk a lot. I really love the fact, like, I live in kind of quite central East London, so I can walk to the river really easily, and I walk everywhere I go, like all the gigs I go to. So I like to walk. It reminds me of being at home and walking through, like, you know, forests and stuff.
Yeah.
It's good to unwind.
Absolutely. So you're here this evening to do a living room concert for us. Do you think this is going to be more or less scary and intimidating than a normal gig?
More.
More.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, you know, we'll treat you well here, and we'll make sure that
No, everyone
you
seems
feel
really
welcome
lovely,
to
so I'm
stay.
sure it'll be cool.
All right, thanks a lot, Rod.
No worries.